Hello, what is up? How are you guys? This week's video is going to be about the Radium Girls, another YouTube history art lesson video, so let's get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about a little thing called radium. Radium is a chemical element that was discovered by Marie Curie and her husband Pierre Curie on December 21st, 1898. Radium comes from uranium and thorium ores and is formed when it breaks down and is extremely radioactive and harmful to the body. We now know today that radium and uranium are both very toxic and harmful to the body, but back in the early 20th century they didn't know that it was very, very bad for you and deadly even. Marie Curie even ended up dying from radiation poisoning as she would carry around radium test tubes in her lap pockets. She died of aplastic anemia caused by the radiation poisoning in 1934. However, it was not known how toxic these chemicals were at first, and radium was used wide and far in many different products. After it was known to have healing abilities in 1902, after William Hammer suggested using radium as a cancer treatment, and while the energy that radium puts off was able to treat cancers, the constant ingesting of the radium can indeed kill you and even cause cancer. As we now know, radium was found in many products, ranging from butter, radon, drinking water, and even toothpaste and face creams for that nice, young-looking glow. You know, that radium in there. Gotta get some of that, man. There was a certain drink in particular called Radithor, which contained small amounts of radium and even ended up killing a famous golf player, Evan Byers, in March 1932. He had believed that the drink had health benefits and was drinking up to 3 bottles a day. In total, he ended up consuming 3 times the acute of lethal radiation dose. By 1930, he had started having holes form in his skull, and he had lost most of his jaw due to how much radiation was in his bones. His death spread much awareness of how harmful radiation can actually be, and how radium might not be so medicinal after all. But let's rewind a little before everyone's suspicions had started to rise on how healthy radium actually was. William Hammer made radium into a glow-in-the-dark paint. He used a mixture of zinc sulfide and radium salts to make this paint, called Undark, and was produced by the U.S. Radium Corporation in Orange, New Jersey between 1917 and 1938. The corporation would use this luminescent paint on the watch dials used for the military. The women in the factory were instructed to use their lips to create a fine point on the ends of the paintbrushes to be able to get the fine lines needed on the watch dials. Their clothes and their hair would glow from the exposure, but they were told it was safe. Some even used their radium to make their teeth whiter and paint their nails to make them glow in the dark. And all this was fine and dandy until something started to happen. Things started to change, and the nicknamed Radium Girls' health started to decline rapidly, and decline it did. Some of the workers got radium jaw or radium necrosis, which is a disease caused by constant ingestion of radium, and some of the horrific side effects that the girls dealt with are teeth falling out, bones breaking, and jaws falling apart. Radium is often mistaken as calcium by the body, and the radium had been absorbed into the women's bones, which can show up as cell mutation, bone damage, and even cancer. Some of the women sued the corporation, but the corporation fought back, sending women to the doctors that they had already paid off to say it was syphilis and not radiation causing the women's problems. A few years later, they tried to pay off a Harvard physiologist, Cecil Drinker, to write a report on the factory. However, this did not go as they wanted, and Cecil wrote about the poor conditions of the factory, and that everything from the unused chairs to the corsets that the workers wore were covered and they were luminescent in the dark room. And unsurprisingly, the U.S. Radium Corporation rewrote the story while still having his name as the author, saying that every girl is in perfect condition. Trying to fight against a corrupt corporation and a widespread belief that radium was in fact healthy and maybe even beneficial was hard for the Radium Girls, and no one believed that their health problems could be related to their work. But finally, in 1925, a doctor named Harrison Martland devised tests that proved once and for all that radium had poisoned the women. It was a woman named Grace Fryer who fought the corporation and found a lawyer even after being turned down time and time again. She continued to fight this battle, and a quote of hers reads, "It is not for myself I care. I am thinking more of the hundreds of girls to whom this may serve as an example." And in 1927, a lawyer named Raymond Barry accepted their case, and with that, Grace and along with her 4 colleagues were off to the courts. By this time, though, things were looking grim, and with the girls being told they only had 4 months to live, the company tried to drag out this legal proceeding as long as they could. The girls were forced to settle out of court and received a lifetime annuity in medical benefits. The women started to die, however, and if it wasn't from the bones in their jaws falling apart, it was from the massive tumors. From the tumors in their legs to the hips to the jaws. One of the dial painters, Irene Laporte, died from a gigantic pelvic tumor that was said to be larger than 2 footballs. However, not all of the Radium girls died right away. There's possibly still a few left alive to this day. There was an article that came out in 2014 about one of the last living Radium girls, Meg Keane, who died at age of 107. It is said that even after the girls' passing, they still had that luminescence glow. One of the girls named Molly, when her tomb was exhumed and its lid opened, Molly's corpse was seen to be aglow with that soft luminescence. As we look back on these tragedies of the past, I believe it's clear to see how much we might not even know about the harmful things that we're using today. And sometimes I wonder, many, many years into the future, if we'll be looking back, shaking our heads too. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please stick around for more videos like this in the future. And also, if you have any ideas or things you would like to see, please comment them below and subscribe if you want to see more. Stay positive. See you guys later. Bye.